You know, legacy automotive companies are in trouble when Bloomberg are producing videos with the title, How Volkswagen Lost Its Way. And before we watch this video, in case you guys missed it, a data leak at Volkswagen Group has sparked fresh concerns about brain-dead legacy automotive companies and their ability to handle software data management and transition to electrification and autonomy. There was a massive data breach where 800,000 electric vehicle owners under the Volkswagen Group, Audi, VW, Skoda, Seat and so on, right, had data leaked, which include GPS coordinates and battery charge levels. And worse, for around 450,000 owners, the leaked data even revealed detailed daily driving routines. This breach reportedly originated from Carrier, the VW Group's cloud platform. Now, I'm so terribly not surprised. Could have seen this coming from 4 light years away. In the past, I've pointed out the fact that legacy automotive companies today produce internal combustion engine vehicles, and that's what they're capable of and competent at. Expecting them to seamlessly transition to electrification from producing internal combustion engines to computers on wheels and everything that goes with that is like expecting a world-class chef to become a world-class ballerina. Possible, but astonishingly unlikely. And I also mentioned in the past, if companies like VW had any fucking sense whatsoever, and obviously they don't, they would have just come knocking on Tesla's door years ago and said, hey Tesla, we're fucked, can you help us not be fucked? We want everything. Your vehicle operating system. Help us with infrastructure, storage, the cloud, security, thermal management, electric motors, batteries, software, everything. Please help us. But of course, VW try and do it themselves. The same VW who, just to be clear, will not be in business 10 years from now. Unless, of course, the German government gives them a massive. So, let's watch this month-old video, How Volkswagen Lost Its Way.
Europe's biggest economy is confronting the most symbolic chapter yet in its story of industrial decline. And the great icon of Germany Incorporated is at the center of the crisis.
Volkswagen epitomizes German engineering.
This is probably its most serious struggle in its history.
Now look, I don't want to be too obnoxious here. The comment that Volkswagen sort of exemplifies German engineering, I actually would probably say, I mean, maybe that's kind of true, but Volkswagen definitely, absolutely, 1000% completely and utterly embodies German bureaucracy. Good luck getting anything done. And I'm not kidding, by the way. I mean, all Germans will know how bureaucratic the place is, right? You guys, you'll understand. For those who don't, bro, Germany is the home of red tape and bureaucracy. And VW truly is the embodiment of this. The ownership structure of the Volkswagen Group is an absolute clusterfuck. I've been over it before. If you guys are curious, just jump on the net and search VW ownership diagram or structure. Literally, the German government owns a slice and has a say. Then there are family members, shareholders. It's an absolute fucking mess. So many people, all pulling in different directions. So yeah, just wanted to correct the record there. VW really exemplifies German bureaucracy to the extreme.
The fundamental underpinnings of the company are falling away from it.
As are tens of billions of euros of its market cap value, which has plummeted to lows not seen since the aftermath of the financial crisis or VW's emission scandal. Management needs to find 17 billion euros in cost savings to stabilize the business, and it's ripping up its rulebook to find them.
Volkswagen's historic move to consider factory closures in Germany for the first time in 87-year history.
That has pitted Europe's largest car maker against its huge workforce and the governing bodies of cities built around its plan. Cars are integral to Germany's modern economic and industrial identity, a pop cultural export, and political lightning rod.
So I don't want to be that guy, but I'm just kind of curious. They're starting with some historical context around cars and German automotive companies. Should we talk about the whole VW founding and the whole... Should we go there? Yeah, no, let's not go there.
87-year-old Volkswagen embodies this on a global scale.
It employs 680,000 people around the world.
Not for long.
It has dozens of production locations.
Not for long.
Millions of people, workers in other industries, are reliant on the business that they get from this company.
It owns several household names. Some of those households are very wealthy indeed, while others descend from VW's principal demographic.
There was a big celebration in Germany to mark the 1 millionth people's car since the war.
The whole idea of the people's car was that every individual in the country would be able to afford one.
Decades later, in 2023, VW's portfolio generated 320 billion euros in sales, equivalent to about 7.5% of Germany's entire GDP from that year. Which sounds pretty healthy, so what's going wrong? First, electrification.
You could arguably chart the current crisis to the diesel scandal in 2015. It cost the company billions of euros in fines and recall and costs. And
Hold up a sec, bro. Wait, what? Ironically, the whole emissions scandal, unforgivable by the way, should have actually accelerated and catalyzed a massive transformation within VW towards electrification. They could have grabbed this opportunity with both hands and massively leaned in to electric vehicles. Should have been a blessing in disguise. Surely he's not about to blame a few $1 billion in fines for being fuckfaces on VW shitting the fucking bed, being incompetent, moving too slow, and ultimately going bankrupt within a decade because they didn't move towards electric vehicles fast enough when the writing was on the wall. Is he?
it forced a rapid pivot towards electric vehicles, but the company wasn't really well prepared for.
They really wanted to create a vertically integrated supply chain. Part of that included creating their own battery making facilities and creating their own in-house software unit. The problem is creating software is very different than making cars.
She has absolutely nailed it. Been saying it for 5 years publicly. Electric vehicles are computers on wheels. They have nothing whatsoever in common with internal combustion engine vehicles except a few aesthetic similarities. 4 wheels, usually 4 doors, windows, windshield, wipers, headlights, braking lights. That's about it. Everything internal. The structure, the electric motors, the batteries, and so importantly, the software. It's an entirely new competency. No wonder they suck shit at electric vehicles. I find it truly remarkable, equal parts astonishing and embarrassing that so many so-called experts for years were claiming, well, the competition is coming and just wait until the big boys release their electric vehicles. As if there's just a magic press the button and now suddenly you're competent at producing electric vehicles, computers on wheels at scale. I swear, 100 plus years ago, these dumb fucks covering the automotive industry thinking that legacy automotive companies would just magically become competent at producing electric vehicles. 100 plus years ago, these dumb fucks would have been saying, well, the companies producing horses, buggies and whips will easily transition to producing automobiles because they're the same thing. Idiots.
Tesla is so far ahead because it's good at all of these things, the batteries, the vehicles, and the software. VW is not.
In the combustion engine era, they could still make cars that people wanted. The transition to electric vehicles is they're not doing well with making cars that people want to buy.
Or that they can afford. This is reflected by slumping registrations for new EVs in Germany. For the majority of the months last year, sales have been down compared to the year before. In the 21st century, VW lacks an electric people's car to stimulate German EV adoption.
Volkswagen is emblematic of Germany's industrial struggles right now. And so the business model and the factors that led to Germany's like decades-long kind of stable, successful economy is at threat.
Which brings us to the second big problem, China. VW has been active in the world's second biggest economy for decades. But while China's been dealing with its own economic slowdown, its car makers have been churning out competitive electric vehicles at VW's expense in particular.
Now, this is a very important point. Also something that was very obvious years ago. As I've said years ago, you often hear this comment, well, you know, Tesla should be concerned about Chinese electric vehicles eating their lunch. No, bro. Tesla are in a league of their own. No one's catching up. Their brains are too big. Their engineers are too smart. Their products are too good. Their pace of innovation, too fast. Forget about Tesla. You want the best? It's going to be a Tesla indefinitely. However, VW's bread and butter as a company, at least the way they position themselves, is for the everyday person. Affordable, reasonably priced, pretty decent vehicles. That's what Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers are producing at scale. Those are the vehicles in the future. But a customer who today would purchase a VW or a Toyota are going to end up buying. It's the Chinese EV manufacturers who'll be massively disrupting legacy automotive companies and eating their lunch. And I want you guys to note on screen, as we're looking at the electric vehicle market share in China, which is the world's largest and most important vehicle market, it's an indicator of what every other marketplace will do with a slight lag. For those who don't know, the Chinese Communist Party really wanted electric vehicles to happen, so they've been a bit of a push. So the China market's probably maybe 12, 24, 36 months ahead of the rest of the world on average. So this trend is probably going to play out everywhere.
Just look at the changing makeup of China's EV market. Local manufacturers have taken considerable share, while German brands, including VW's, have steadily declined.
They slept on the competitive threat that Chinese car makers play. The expectation that German cars are just better.
It wouldn't be controversial to say that Volkswagen, through its decades of success in China, grew a bit arrogant about its position there.
VW has company in its struggle with macroeconomic headwinds. The European Commission is fighting back on behalf of EU car makers and in late 2024 introduced controversial tariffs on Chinese vehicles. And so, to VW's third problem, its workforce.
Volkswagen considers its first ever factory closures in Germany in an effort to cut costs as Europe's car industry struggles.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump the gun a little bit here and just point out, in case you guys don't know, VW is going to need to do massive layoffs, fuckloads of plant closures, scale back. By the way, they're still fucked. So, I mean, this is all just an exercise in intellectual wankery because they're doomed anyway. But the best chance of survival would be to massively cut costs, lay off tens of thousands of employees, shut down factories, and delete almost every product they produce except their absolute highest volume best-selling vehicles. Go all in on electric vehicles, license tech from Tesla, and rebuild from there. But there's a bit of a problem, and I'm sure we're about to find out. But someone or something has VW by the balls. In fact, their balls are in a vice grip, meaning if they are to lay off any workers, they will suffer catastrophic costs.
The Volkswagen brand has 10 production locations within Germany that both make cars and components. Volkswagen management has said that as many as 3 of those factories could be at risk of closing or of restructuring.
The pressure on VW's workforce is felt keenly here, Wolfsburg, in the German state of Lower Saxony.
Wolfsburg is absolutely the symbol of Volkswagen inside Germany. It was the site of the first factory of the company.
The factory itself is enormous. It's the size of Monaco, effectively.
If Volkswagen ceased to exist in Wolfsburg, the city of Wolfsburg would also cease to exist.
And in Germany at this point in time, there's not as many stable jobs as there used to be. And like a VW worker, assembly line worker, was well-paid, blue-collar, middle-class kind of job. If you lose that, you don't get something easily, so your livelihood all of a sudden collapses.
Dietmar Tütsche began his career at Volkswagen as an apprentice mechanic 3 decades ago. He works here, about 200 miles from Wolfsburg at VW's Emden plant. His lengthy tenure, like many, fostered great loyalty to his employer, but now also trepidation.
Also es macht Angst, es macht mir Angst und was viel schlimmer ist, es macht meiner Familie Angst, dass Volkswagen unsere Arbeit, unsere Werke in Frage stellt. Heute habe ich noch mit Mitarbeitern und Kollegen von mir im VW-Werk gesprochen, die blanke Angst weil alle gerade ihre Existenz sehr, sehr, sehr bedroht sehen. Nicht nur sie sehen ihre Existenz bedroht, sondern auch die Existenzen ihrer Kinder, die, wenn im Idealfall alles gut läuft, auch bei Volkswagen einen adäquaten Arbeitgeber bekommen hätten bzw. bekommen können.
Volkswagen's turnaround efforts right now are being led by Oliver Blume, who is the chief executive officer of the whole group.
And who's leading the charge to downsize.
Which is a very controversial decision because you're picking a fight with the employees, which have a ton of power. So there's like 140,000 German employees at the VW brand, which have obviously political power, which in the other turn influences Lower Saxony, the state, which has a blocking minority.
In accordance with historical laws particular to VW, regional government has voting powers in the company's corporate decisions.
Just think about how fucked that is. Local government having voting power in the company, their ability to block decisions. Can someone say VW is fucked?
Often allying with the workers' groups and at odds with investors.
The state of Lower Saxony has 2 seats on Volkswagen's supervisory board. They, along with the 10 seats that sit on the supervisory board from the labor side, that means they have a majority. And that means it's in their interest to protect the locations within Lower Saxony from being closed.
This tension fueled protests and heated negotiations between management and unions.
There's lots of competing power players. That structure that makes Volkswagen very slow-moving.
This has also hindered the ability of Volkswagen to make cuts to its operational costs that come from the labor side, because those are often not seen as being in the interests of the hundreds of thousands of workers that are employed at the company.
One potential component of a restructured VW is giving a new life to its plants.
There is precedent for a factory to be sold off to another car maker or to another company so that those jobs remain saved.
But there would be a difficult irony for Germany to reconcile if that manifests.
The likely buyer of any Volkswagen plant is probably going to be a Chinese manufacturer.
Bluma has characterized his company's crisis as truly demanding, but the restructure is progressing. On calls with investors, he said highly competitive new products are coming in 2025, while partnerships with EV companies in China are advancing well too. But then there's the US, where VW is facing another problem because it exports more vehicles there than anywhere else in the world.
You know how many cars we have? Mercedes-Benz and BMW and all of the different Volkswagen, millions and millions of cars. We're going to put tariffs on them.
It's a real risk that Volkswagen that we know of today doesn't exist in the same way in 5 to 10 years. The German.
Damn, dude. He said that out loud. And by the way, it's right. I'm just going to go a step further, though. There's a real risk that in 5 to 10 years, Volkswagen doesn't exist. Period. Now, I should add a caveat. Volkswagen or VW will probably still, quote unquote, exist 5-10 years from now, because as they approach bankruptcy, they'll probably sell the brand to somebody who can start slapping VW logos on their products. Because VW today, a company that produces vehicles in volumes of around 10 million a year, absolutely will not exist 5 to 10 years from now. In the best case scenario, somehow, after they get $100 billion bailout from the, actually probably more than that, German government, like if that happens, maybe they're producing 1 million really sort of low-end niche high-performance vehicles. Maybe, you know, Porsche, etc. Maybe they just forget about all the low-end brands completely. But if they're producing 10% of their current volume 5-10 years from now, they may as well not be in business.
The German government, the German system, the company itself will do everything to prevent that. But the transition is going away from Germany's traditional strength.
I'm kind of impressed to see this video put together. Better late than never. But the fact that mainstream outlets are now starting to question whether or not VW, at least in its current form, will even exist in 5 to 10 years, pointing out the legitimate threat of Chinese electric vehicles, VW's extremely encumbered nature as a company, slow-moving, too many decision makers involved, this is pretty remarkable. This story will play out among all legacy automotive manufacturers though. Make no mistake, it ain't just VW, although they and Toyota are the two largest. Give or take, on a good year, they'll produce roughly 10 million vehicles per year each. And the collapse, the implosion of VW, and so too Toyota, will be catastrophic for the economies of the countries in which they currently operate. Rest in peace, the German economy, in particular, the Wolfsburg area, and also rest in peace, Japan, when Toyota implodes. Now look, I'm not out here rooting for these companies to fail, I'm just telling you what's going to happen. And they did this to themselves. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, or I can keep going. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs.